Hey Bashers, in this video we're taking on some more viewer comments, and we really enjoy doing these videos because it keeps us in touch with the people watching the channel, and that is outstanding. We never said we know everything, and we definitely don't, but we have a lot of experience here at the channel to draw from, and we'll answer the questions if we can. If we can't get to them, we'll let you know we just don't understand the question, or we don't have the experience in that department to deal with it. You'll always get the truth from us. This should be a lot of fun. Check this out.
Another ace video, AJ. Love your team's work. Recently purchased a new X-Max. Topped up front diff with 10K reassembled, and upon hand tightening the diff back together, it seized up. Loosened the 4 screws a quarter turn and it rotated again. Any ideas? Thanks again.
Well, we've run into this before, and it's not just on the X-Max. It goes with everything. So what it comes down to is spacing is important inside of these differentials, and if you took it all the way apart, make sure that you put all the components back in the same order. If you've done this, make sure that all the gears line up as you assemble it, and then make sure everything is sitting in nice and smooth. Push it together and rotate it. You should be able to tighten it all down. Generally, it comes down to spacing and where you put your spacers, or you didn't get the teeth lined up properly. I would recommend getting the manual, having a look at the part layout, and reassembling it to that, and see if it still does it.
Hi, my name is Rance. I have a 3S Armor Granite, and I'm having an issue. It has 4 times as much punch and speed in reverse than it does going forward. Can you help me? I have no idea what it could be.
Alright, as far as that goes, it sounds pretty simple. Basically, your motor is wired backwards from what the speed control is putting out. It will always go faster forward than reverse. So if you're going faster in reverse, you have 3 wires on the motor. And here's one to give you an example. It doesn't really matter if they're color coded or not, but you have 3 wires that come out of a brushless system. 1, 2, 3. And it doesn't matter which way you connect them. If you have all 3 hooked up and it's going backwards, switch 2 of the leads. It doesn't matter if they're color coded. Switch 2 of them. Any 2 you want to switch them, and it'll fix the problem. What it is the speed control is sending the motor the wrong information, saying forward is backwards. It won't hurt the motor. It won't hurt the speed control. Just switch the leads and you'll be good to go.
Thank you. What's the purpose of the sway bar? I have one on the low C10 SCBE and have no idea why it's there. For anyone wondering, you can get the white lithium grease at Home Depot. I have that exact same bottle AJ used.
Well, the sway bar is there for suspension control and anti-roll. What that means is when you get into a corner and you start to compress one side of the chassis, the arm will come up, that sway bar connects it to the other side so it comes down evenly, and it transfers more of the weight to the other side of the car to keep the car level in cornering. The sway bar has a really definite place when it comes to racing and things like that. If you got a lot of flat area where you're putting a lot of side pressure on your car in the corners, a sway bar can definitely help with that. Is it always necessary? It depends on your terrain. If you're off in the rough like we like to ride, sway bars don't make that big of a difference, but if you're in a racing situation, it can give you the edge you need. And we've been using the same lubricant for a long time and love it.
AJ, my guy. Your wife is on point all the time, every day.
I'm glad somebody recognized that, because Tina is really a core part of this channel. You don't see her on screen very often, but she's here for all of this. She goes with me every time we go bashing. I'd say 80% of the time she's there. And she helps us with all the footage that we're doing. She gets most of the slow-mo stuff that you see. And she helps me with ideas of how we're going to do things and whatnot. She even works on some of the intro stuff on the computers. And she's really sharp. She's the best person I know, and I am lucky to have her in my life. Thanks again for the comment.
The review I was waiting for. AJ, not sure if you guys would be interested or not, but Instagram Reels with the clips you guys have for the bashing would make a great success, especially if you tag the companies and put the hashtags as well. Would create a whole new audience and most likely bring new people to the channel and hobby.
We've thought about that. We've thought about spreading out to some of the other platforms we do. I personally have a Facebook account, and it's AJ Jam, and that one is pretty cool. But at the same time, everyone here holds down full-time jobs, and we're barely able to keep up with this channel, much less splitting things up and trying to control other platforms. There's a lot involved in it, and if I was retired, then perhaps I'd have more time to do it. But really, it comes down to time constraint. I would love to bring more people into the hobby, and we are trying to do that here. But at the same time, with the time allowed from what we do during the week and on weekends and things like that, we just don't have the time to branch out. But I like the idea. Thank you.
Like this format. Love all your videos. You helped me rediscover this hobby a few years ago and will always be grateful. I absolutely love it. Thank you again for everything you do.
You know, when we started this channel, we did some research before we actually started the channel, and what it comes down to is, if you have an idea, don't wait. And I really believe that if you guys are thinking of starting a channel of your own, if you want, no matter what your platform, don't wait. If you're going to do it, do it. You can start it with a phone. We started here with just a cell phone, and we worked from there and slowly built up what we have. We've always had a professional outlook in mind of how we wanted to run things, how we wanted things to be viewed, how we handle things, how we mix things. Everything was done with more of a professional eye to it than to just have a sheet of plywood and some stickers on the wall and tell you what's going on. Both styles do work, but I've always had this feeling that if I was going to put some effort into something, I wanted to go 100%. I wanted to get into it, make it as professional as I can. And here at the channel, we've gone in debt doing this to try and get everything set up, from sliders to the cameras to the professional cameras for the studio. For everything we've done, we have 3 studios here that we're working from. We're up over 76 RCs, and each time we upgrade something, it costs a lot of money. You see the RCs on the shelf and all that stuff, but it's what's behind the scenes that really drive the channel. I'm the one in front of the camera all the time, and it was my idea to do this, and everyone else that is around here, they're behind the scenes and you never see them, but they're here and they come and go as they can. You don't always have everybody here. You have one guy here, one guy there once in a while. A group goes out and bashes. At the same time, we try to put things together and keep them as professional as possible as far as the outlook goes, the studio set, all of that. And each time we do a video, I think we're moving in the right direction. We start to improve here, we start to improve there, we ask a few questions here, and it definitely helps us with what we're trying to produce. I'm glad you guys are enjoying what we're doing and you're learning something from it, because that is actually the whole point here, is to help the community understand that these cars aren't crazy to work on. They're real simple once you understand the main components of it and how they go together. If you're new to the hobby, refer to the channel, go to the 101 series, and we do all we can to help. And that is the whole idea. If you have something that's bothering you with your car and you don't know what to do, you can get in the comments and ask. If we have some experience in that, we will do what we can to help you. We've even made videos to help people understand how to fix their stuff. And that's what we're trying to do here. Thanks for the comment.
One thing I don't think most people take into consideration with Arrma is just how much heavier their cars are compared to most other comparable brands at the same scales. My buddy has the 6 Arrma Notorious, and it's almost as heavy as my Traxxas XRT. Heavy-duty parts add weight, so a heavier car has more potential for breakage when jumping, crashing, etc. than others. So far, I've had real good luck with my 3S Granite and 4S Outcast. Great video, man.
And that's pretty much true for just about any of it when you think about it, because most of the 6S stuff is within the same weight range because they have the metal chassis, they have the bracing in it, they have the same style and usually size of motors, speed controls and all that. They take the same batteries. The tires vary a little bit, but overall each platform has its weight. Now the difference between Arrma and Traxxas is Traxxas doesn't have the metal parts in it that Arrma has in it. They have plastic components, and plastic weighs a lot less. And you can really feel the difference when they launch. And what it comes down to is when you launch a Traxxas, it looks cool from a distance, but it sounds plastic when it hits the ground. When it hits the ramp, you can hear the difference between that and a more substantial metal version. And both of them are the same as far as how they usually handle and things. And that varies on what you've done to your car. But we have the X-Max, the XRT, we have the 8S Creighton, we have all of the bigger cars, well, not all, but a lot of them. And we have the low-C DBXLE 2.0. And we run all of those, and they're all relatively heavy. More weight does create more impact, which means you have to have things set up better so they'll take the impact that you give them, because weight and inertia creates damage, and that's just how that works. Now, as far as the 3S platforms go, they're plastic, and 3S is a pretty light vehicle overall, and they don't handle the same as a 6S car because of that weight difference. You can get a certain type of handling out of a 6S car. You can get decent handling out of a 3S car, but with the smaller ones, they're a little sketchier. They take a little more control and that kind of thing. The bigger the car gets, the easier they generally are to drive unless you overpower them. If you run them the way they come out of the box, they're usually pretty controllable, but any sudden stop will break just about any of them. If you catch one right in the front and the center, odds are you're going to be okay. But if you catch an arm, it doesn't matter what your car is. If you catch an arm and you're going fast, you're gonna break it.
You have one of the greatest RC channels on YouTube. Thank you for what you do.
You know, I really appreciate that we try really hard to be helpful here. We try to be fairly professional about how we do things. Our skills are growing as to how we do, as far as we had a little problems in the beginning to get, and this lasted a while, getting our things in focus and making sure you can see exactly what we're doing here. And over time, we've improved by getting better cameras, better angle situations, better lighting, and things of that nature to try and get it in so you can actually see what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, we're here to help you understand how to work on your RCs. That's the whole point. And I really appreciate the comment. We like to think we're doing well. Are we a great channel? We don't see it that way. Each day is work. Each day requires effort, and we put everything we can into every video. Thanks for the comment.
Hi AJ, I watch and like all your videos. You're great and very smart. I want to get that wheelie bar you have on this Typhon 6S for mine. Can you post a link or give me some more info on it, please? Thank you, pal. Keep up the awesome content.
You know, when I read this comment, I went out and looked, because they were all in Studio 3 at this point, and they're hanging up, you know, almost side by side there. So I went to look to see which wheelie bar we had on them. We don't have a wheelie bar on the Typhons. None of them have a wheelie bar. They have bumpers on the front, and those are Proline bumpers that we have on the front, but we don't have any wheelie bars. If you're thinking about the Italians and the Creightons have T-Bone Racing wheelie bars on them, and T-Bone Racing went out of business, and they don't make those anymore. So you can't get them. When we were in business, we bought like 15 of them. We used them all. We have every last one of them on cars now, and so those are no longer reachable. You can't get them. I would recommend just getting on eBay and seeing what's available and picking the best one for you. Thanks for the comment.
Waiting for the beauty review of the TLR Typhon to see if you have problems with the lower front hinge pins. Are the hinge pins soft steel and the blocks brittle plastic? Bought mine used, so it could be that my hinge pins were all damaged from before my time and that my light jumps but slightly ugly landings were the last straw on an already damaged construction. I hope so. Your channel got me back to RC. Thanks.
You know, we have a lot of cars here that we should be doing brutal reviews on, but the problem that we have is we don't have the time to run them as often as we'd like to. If we haven't spent a lot of time with one, you haven't seen the brutal review on it, because we won't make a video just to make the video. We'll only make the video if we have something to share, and that's what it comes down to. We love the Typhons, but we haven't had them out in a while because we had a bunch of new cars. So as far as the TLR goes, we haven't run it enough to actually get the brutal review done. We used to have criteria that we went with, but basically what it comes down to is when we think we understand the car and we've run it enough, we do a brutal review. As far as the Typhon's hinge pins and whatnot, most of the hinge pins come fairly soft to start with. You can chuck it up in a vise and just tap it and bend them. So I think that's part of the deal with that. As far as the blocks, we've had no problems, but we really need to put some more time on it to be able to answer that correctly. So I hope it's just the fact that you got one that had some heavy stress put on it, and the new parts will hold up. Well, that's all the time we have right now for our comments, and we love that you guys come into the comments and ask the questions. If we don't get back to you, we are busy. We don't always have time to answer all of the comments, and that's what these videos are for. When we get into stuff that we can answer, we try to bring them into the channel here and get you something that's a little more than a single text line that tries to answer a complex problem. There are times when you need to actually discuss something to get the understanding of it across to the person asking the question, and you can't always do that in text. The problem is you can text something innocuous, text it out, no problems, and it can be taken wrong, and then that can come back on you, and that can be difficult. But when you actually get to stand in front of the camera like I'm doing and answer the question, not only do you get the information, but you get the intent behind it, and that's what makes this pretty cool. If you haven't already, don't forget to bash that like button and help our content spread. It's free and easy. All you gotta do is click the button, and life is good for everyone. If you have anything you'd like to add to this, please feel free to get down in the comments below and help others along the way. For AJ Jam Studios, I'm AJ saying, keep bashing.